In this lesson, we're going to have a look at exponential growth and exponential decay. So first of all, let's have a look at what exponential growth actually is. So the way I look at it, the word exponential means of the exponent. So basically it means the variable is in the exponent, which is another word for power. The variable is in the power. So that there is exponential growth because the variable is in the power. This here is exponential growth because the variable x is in the power. This here isn't exponential growth because the power is 2, not a variable. So exponential growth means variable in the exponent or power. So let's now look at some examples of exponential growth and see what key features occur when things are exponentially growing. So let's consider the equation y equals 2 to the power of x plus 1, and this function is exponentially growing because the exponent contains a variable. So we're going to fill in this table, and we'll use the table mode on the calculator to our advantage. So menu, let's go into table mode, which is mode 9, and we're going to put 2 to the power of x plus 1 in there, like that. So it's asking us if we want to put a second function in, g of x, but we don't. We're just going to press equals. So we're going to start at minus 2 and go all the way up to x equals 4 on this one. And we're going to go up in a step of 1. There we go. So that gives us all the values that we need. So let's write them in the table. And there they are there. So one of the key features of exponential growth is that if you add something to one variable, in this case we're adding 1, you multiply the other variable by something. In this case it's 2. So every time we add 1, we're adding 1 to the power. That's an extra 2 we're multiplying by. So that explains why if we add 1 to that, the power becomes 1 higher. That means there's 1 extra 2 that we're multiplying by. So that's why every time we add 1 to x, we times y by 2. Let's do another one. So this one here, fill it out and look for a similar pattern. And that's what this one looks like when filled out. So notice a similar pattern here. Except with this one, every time we add 2 to x, we multiply by 3. We add 2 to x, we multiply by 3. We add 2 to x, we multiply by 3. A key feature of exponential growth is that there's a recurring pattern that every time you add a particular value to x, you multiply y by a particular value as well. And the reason in this case that we add 2 and times by 3, because every time we add 2 to the power here, it increases the power by 1. So half of x, if we increase x by 2, it's going to increase the power as a whole by 1, meaning that we times by this base number 3. So that's just something to spot. But a key feature, again, last time, of exponential growth is that every time we add something to x, we multiply y by something. And here's an example involving exponential growth. So it says a quantity p is increasing exponentially with respect to time. Given that at time t equals 4, p equals 10, and at time t equals 6, p equals 20, find the value of p at time t equals 10. So this question is designed to use the method that we've just looked at, about looking at when we add something to x, or in this case t, we times y, or in this case p, by something. So let's make a table. So part A, we've got t and p. So 4 corresponds to 10, and 6 corresponds to 20. So we can see here, because we're told it's growing exponentially, we know that the law that when you add something to t, we times p by something applies. Again, we know that's true because we're told it's increasing exponentially, and this is a key feature of exponential growth. So the value of p at time t equals 10. Let's keep going. 6, 8, 10. So we add 2 twice. So we times by 2 twice. So that becomes 40, and that becomes 80. So part A, the answer is p equals 80. Part B, and this one wants the value of t when p equals 160. Well, let's keep going. Add 2 again. times by 2 to get 160. So this one, t equals, and we'll just use the time, was 12. But in particular, we're going to look at functions of the form e to the kx. So there's one key fact that you've got to learn. And that there is the key fact that you've got to learn. The rate of change of a function e to the kx is given by k e to the kx. So if ever in a question the rate of change is mentioned, this is the fact you've got to recall, that the rate of change of e to the kx is k e to the kx when talking about exponentials. So let's do a little exercise here to put that into practice. So find a formula for the rate of change of the following expressions. Well, the first one, e to the 3x. Well, using the formula above, the rate of change of e to the kx, the rate here becomes 3 e to the 3x. For part B, 2 lots of e to the 0.2x. The rate becomes, well, multiplied by the thing attached to the x in the power, just like the rule above states, 0.2 times 2e to the 0.2x, which is 0.4 e to the 0.2x. And I do feel bad just throwing a fact at you like that and saying accept it, but we haven't covered enough ground in first year maths yet to be able to understand why that's the case. All will be revealed when you do a topic called the chain rule for differentiation in second year maths. And part C, well, that's not in the format of that there yet. So what we need to do, we need to write it in that format. So first of all, that's equal to 3. And using index laws, we know that a divide by something makes a negative power. So that's 3e to the negative 0.01x. And that means that the rate is equal to negative 0.01 times 3e to the negative 0.01x equals negative 0.03 e to the negative 0.01x. And there we have it, the rate of change of an exponential function, but specifically e to the power of kx. Not everything else works like that. This only works for e to the kx. So let's finally do a bit of a question that puts all of what we've done into practice. And here it is here. So it says a radioactive substance decays such that its mass m grams at time t years after the first observation was made is modelled by the equation m equals 180 e to the negative kt. So this here, when written in an equation form, is what exponential growth looks like. Whenever we talk about exponential growth and we put in an equation, it will usually be of the form a times e to some constant kt, where k can be positive or negative. Right, so it tells us also that the mass of the substance at time t equals 100 was 150 grams. So that there is a key piece of information that we're probably going to use to find some unknown constants later. So first of all, write down the initial mass of the substance. Well, when t equals 0, that means that the mass of the substance equals 180 e to the power of 0, which is just 180 grams. Part B, find k. So as predicted, we're going to use these points now to find the value of the unknown constant k. So if you want to pause the video and have a go at yourself, t was 100 and the mass was 150 grams. So let t equal 100 and m equal 150. Which means that 150 equals 180 e to the negative k, and the time we're told was 100. So rearrange that to get what the value of k is. So 150 over 180 is 5/6. So 5/6 equals e to the negative 100k, and logging both sides, we end up with natural log of 5/6, and a natural log undoes an e like that, equals minus 100k, which then means that k equals minus 1/100th of log of 5/6, which is approximately equal to, so we've got minus 1/100th of log of 5/6 equals 1.8232 times 10 to the negative 3. 0.8232 times 10 to the negative 3. What I'm going to do, I'm going to store that in the A button. So I'm going to press this STO button here, just above 7. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to press the button with the red letter above it that I want to store it in. So I'm going to store it in the letter A. So I'm going to press this button here, just above the STO button. And now you can see the calculator tells me that it stored that number in A. Right, so K is equal to that. And I've stored it just so I'm just in case I need to use that constant later, which I probably will. So part C, find the rate at which the mass is decreasing when T equals 100. Right, so that there, we'll write down the equation first of all. So M equals 180 E to the negative 1.8232 times 10 to the negative 3 T. And the rate equation, remember, is the same thing back, but just multiplied by this number here. So just as a reminder, what we did earlier, so e to the kt implies that the rate of change of e to the kt is k e to the kt. That's a fact we learned just before. So, which means that rate equals just that again. So minus 1.8232 times 10 to the negative 3 times 180 e to the negative 1.8232 times 10 to the negative 3. And we know that the time was 100 there, which is equal to, and remember we stored that value in the letter A, so to speed things up we'll recall it. So we've got negative, then alpha, then the button we want, which is A, times 180 e to the power of negative A times 100, which is negative 0.27348. So that's for the rate of decrease. So the rate of decrease will be a positive number. It's negative because it's a negative rate of increase. So the rate of decrease would be, therefore, rate of decrease equals negative 0.27348. That's part C. Then finally, part D, describe the long-term behaviour. Well, that's the equation there. And as t approaches infinity, i.e. in the long term, as t approaches infinity, we know that e to the negative kt gets smaller and smaller and smaller. It'll approach 0. Therefore, the long-term behaviour is the mass approaches 0. And there we have it, exponential growth. There's a good few questions on the sheet like this. Have a go. Try them all.